The challenge. I'm gonna make a Quake clone in 10 days. Did I succeed? Well, sort of. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna use GZDoom because prototyping games in his engine is easy and fast, and is perfect for a retro-style first-person shooter. GZDoom's footprint is small, and in theory, all you need to start making stuff is a text editor. Of course, I'll be using a few more tools for this project, but my point is, GZDoom's good if you want to make a first-person retro shooter with minimal development time, and I don't have a lot of time. So to start off, I used this standalone game template which I made that's free for the community to use. This template is basically just an empty game that you can use to start your own retro FPS masterpiece without requiring any assets from Doom or any of the other commercial IWAs that GZDoom supports. First thing I did was modify the player's movement physics using ZScript, which is the main scripting language GZDoom uses for stuff like player code, monster AI, weapons, even the menus. Now that I've tweaked the player movement to my liking, it's time to design a player character. For whatever stupid reason, Jet Li's outfit from the 2001 movie The One, terrible movie by the way, came to mind. So to save time, I imported the player model from Quake 1, cleaned up the geometry, and then basically reshape and retexture it to look like the sketch I drew. Sorry, Ranger. Now that we have a player model, it's time to make some weapons. I'm just gonna make these from scratch because weapon models are typically just a bunch of cylinders and boxes. Now, time for the UI. For the UI, I start by drawing icons needed for the HUD, and then going into the ZScript source files of Doom's HUD, copying and pasting that into my game, and then tweaking it to fit my needs. Moving forward, this is something I would typically do to save time. I would dig around GZDoom to look for a piece of code that behaves closely to what I want, and then just go from there. Hey, as long as it works.
All of this just works.
For the game menu, I had to choose a font, so I went to Google Fonts and used that as a basis for the game header as well as the in-game font. Time to make monsters. Again, I'll be importing something that looks close to what I had in mind from Quake and then heavily modify it. The model is always unusable as is, so I'll have to edit some of the polygons, make it perfectly symmetrical, retexture it, and also rig a new skeleton for it so that I can actually animate it. I repeat the same process for all of the monsters in this game, but I won't be showing footage for all of them because that would make this video longer than it needs to be. Audio and music. For the player, it's just me making funny noises with my mic and then some editing and processing to the audio. For the other sounds, I relied a lot on the Ultimate SFX bundle by Sidearm Studios. All manners of audio tricks were employed, layering, editing, processing, you name it. Unfortunately, for the music and audio sessions, I don't have much footage because my dumbass couldn't be bothered to record the sessions. Oh well. Now for the part I dread the most. Ugh. Level design.
First of all, I'm not a mapper.
Seriously, I'm not a mapper, have not released a single level under my name, despite being involved with the Doom community since 2001, so technically this will be my first set of maps ever released. Using my late 1994 style mapping skills, I made these terrible maps. I make use of modern mapping features supported by GZDoom, like 3D floors, slopes, dynamic lighting, and all that jazz. I should mention that for the level textures, I initially used a bunch of placeholder textures taken from some Quake texture wads I found floating on the net, but eventually I had them replaced with my own textures. And that's it, I made a Quake clone in 10 days. It's even got support for co-op because GZDoom has netplay built in. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. In case I didn't mention it before, all of the songs used in this game are my original compositions, and you can download the songs from my Bandcamp page. It's free of course, but you can optionally pay whatever amount you want if you'd like to support me. You can also support me via Patreon or PayPal donations. I am currently working on a retro-style first-person horror game called Darkadia, and it's being built in GZDoom, so feel free to check the trailers out. Links are in the description.